Malcolm here. I'm going to walk you through my process of having a sprinkler system that was really low pressure. And I want to explain what I did first here is I ended up digging up all the heads. I did this first since I'm going to probably replace them out, and also to cap all the lines, see? So I capped that one, dug it up, capped up this one. Also, it's nice to lay down a tarp, keep the dirt off your lawn. Also, it's nice to use a nice spade. Try to cut the grass out in a nice cube so that you can lay it back on like a nice sinkhole would have looked at. But just I'd get some extra soil too, because it's not going to come back the same square you put in with the soil. And I always replace it with good soil up top too, since some of the soil is kind of porous. So I put down some nice topsoil. So this one, I'll explain this later. And then this head, dug up, and actually I'm going to move it. And then I had this head over here. And then I also had this head. What I did on this head is actually put a pressure tester on it. Got it low, it was $10. So when I fired up this system, I was putting about a 5 psi. So for relation, a normal hose at my house puts out about 60 psi. So obviously I had a massive leak, so I had all the lines plugged, and I'm getting 5 psi. So what I did then here is I started using a little technology, and I hooked up I got the sprinkler active on this zone, and I set it to run for, I don't know, an hour. And I ended up getting out my, so I had it run for, I don't know, 5 minutes. I thought I'd just come back out really quick and maybe I'd see something. And I ended up using a thermal camera. And what that is, it's a FLIR camera that actually goes on your phone. Bear with me, it's a BlackBerry, but it's an old phone that connects to this older fitting. And right when I ended up running a few minutes, I had my shoes off, and I walked by here, and my foot was wet. I was like, well, that's strange. So I ended up getting the thermal camera out, and it showed a big blue spot right here. So what I did then is I marked it with a sprinkler head, the black one laying right there. And then I got the thermal camera out over here, and another huge blue spot from the water because it's colder. And I marked it with the sprinkler head, and I dug it out, and I found out that on both of these fittings where they connected, remember this system is about 20 years old, the plastic cracked around where the fitting is. So I ended up cutting off the fittings, and what I'm going to do then is use a little extension piece. These are a little expensive, they're about $7. But what they do is you can put them on, and then they extend out. And then you can cut the hose to fit, and then put it in, extend it, and then clamp it. And what I did is I'm using these. I've tried to use hose clamps before. They don't work really well, so what I'm using is these clamps that you hear in a little clamper. And I noticed they use these at the commercial grade companies use it, because you're not going to get enough strength with a normal hose clamp. Like, you get a Harbor Freight or something, or even one from an automotive I even used really nice Mercedes hose clamps, and they just strip. You're not going to get enough pressure. So by doing the crimp ones, you can buy the tool and everything, and then that's going to fix it. So I guess another trick I did, this is kind of fun, not everyone has this, but I have some Ring cameras that are mobile. So to find the leak, after I found it, I dug it out. I didn't know exactly where it was at. I knew that it was, in the general area. So I actually set the Ring cam up. Sorry about the finger there. I set the Ring camera up, and I went live, and then I went to my sprinkle box, and I used my tablet. And then I was able to, turn on the sprinkler really quick and see where the leak is, because it's hard using, your wife or someone else looking at it because they don't see it. But seeing it live, I saw then right where the leak was, and it was right on the clamp connection. And then I was able to see it, dig it out a little better, and cut it. So then that's kind of all it was. At the same time, I'm going to put some nice new heads in. These, the older ones, they're getting run over by the mower, and they just start leaking. So overall, it's been a pretty major project. But I can't imagine what a sprinkler guy charged. Last time I had some sprinkler guys come. Nothing against sprinkler guys, they just charge a lot of money, but they charged me $1,000 to adjust my sprinkler heads and fix one leak last summer. So I can't imagine what they tried to charge for this, changing out the heads and then fixing 2 leaks. But, you know, I ended up working up the hours I was paying them as much as a lawyer to dig holes and fix my sprinkler. So good for them, but I'm not going to pay that. So in the end, it turned out I haven't got it done yet, but I've fixed them before. It's going to be okay. Put the new heads in, readjust everything. And before I run it too, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put fix these 2 leaks, and then I'm going to pressurize it and come out and check the pressure on that last fitting over here. So I'm going to keep them all closed and then run it a bit and see what my pressure is. And I'm hoping the pressure's over 40 or 50, and because I'm not going to get 60 all the way out here from like what I get from the actual faucet or the hose outlet. And then I'm gonna, if I'm under 40 or 30, I'm gonna let it run then and try to find another leak. But I think those are the 2 major ones because I noticed that the grass was greener in those spots. So hopefully this helps you out to try to diagnose your own sprinkler system leaks, and you know, using a little bit of technology of the FLIR camera and you know, the ring. But you know, if you don't have the ring, what you could do is you could always just set your camera down on video mode and then fire up the system so you can see what's going on, because you know, can't always have people help you, and they can't always spot things like you seeing it directly. And then you know, your trip to Home Depot store and get your clamps and your fittings. So in the end, I think I spent about $40 to fix 2 broken lines and to change out all my sprinkler heads, compared to probably $1,000 and dealing with sprinkler guys who end up just flopping everything back in, and the grass always dies and they never lay it level. So one last thing I would recommend is if you chop up your soil a little bit, it might not hurt to buy a piece of sod or 2 while you're doing this, and some bags of good topsoil, just so that you can get it back really looking nice. Because I've noticed a lot of times, like this one spot over here, the soil was really bad up here because the head wasn't in the right spot, and you see how it's really sandy soil. So maybe pick up a piece of sod. I think it's about $6 a roll, and a bag or 2 of good topsoil, not the $1.50 topsoil, but you know, like the $4 or $5 bag of topsoil. And then when you put it all back in, you can have your grass perfect. And I always say, take time when you put your grass back in, because it will settle. So make sure when you put your sod back on to flatten it really good, and then just step on the sod and double check it, because the worst I've noticed, it's really hard to get the sod perfect. And if you have a perfect lawn and you're anal like me, just take your time to level it out. And if it's not level, you can pull the piece up, put some more soil down, and level it out. But if you just flop it in there really quick over that, I mean, look over here, this soil's so sandy and poor. It's really, really bad stuff. So I'm going to put some nice soil down there so my grass is happy. And that should do it. I don't know if you really need the FLIR camera, but I had one. And it's neat just for seeing hot, cold spots in your house and outside. I've used it for a lot of strange things that, you know, I don't know how much they are now. I bought it years ago, but pretty handy. So I guess that's it. Hopefully this helps you out. And you don't always need to hire a sprinkle guy. Just take your time. I think I got about probably 3-4 hours in this, including drive time to Home Depot. All right. Have a good day. Bye.